It's time for November's reading wrap up. I'm actually very excited for this one because I read 7 books. Exceptional. Amazing. I normally don't read 7 books. I'll probably read like 3 or 4 books tops, but with my husband being gone this month, definitely had more time to read, which is a good thing, sad thing, good thing, both. Yeah, so I have 7 books to talk about. And I'm just gonna go straight to it because that's what you came here to see. First book. This is one of the last ones I finished. I finished it yesterday and I stayed up all night long. Not to finish it, but because it left me in a state of distress. I have been emotionally eviscerated by this book. And it's Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey? Yeah, McConaughey. Started this book. I started it with audiobook, got about 6 chapters in. It was really interesting. So at first I thought it was going to be like some sort of magical realism involved in it. And personally, I think my brain is so wired to fantasy that I can't handle magical realism. So when there's a character who has like a little bit of magic, not like full magic, or like there's a town with like a little bit of magic, not full magic, I can't process. I'm like, no, I need full magic system. I need to know the ins and outs. I need to know the rules. I need to know how this whole universe works. That's not how magical realism is. So I wasn't a fan of that. However, about halfway through I realized that's not the case. It was actually a medical condition. I'm gonna do this. That's not really a spoiler, but I'm gonna do this without spoilers because I want people to read this book. Basically, this is about 2 twin sisters, and they are raised by an environmentalist, their father, and also a cop. But the big plot line is that one of them, her name is Aniti, I hope I'm saying that correctly, but she travels to a town in Canada to reintroduce wolves into the ecosystem. She's a conservative, she's an environmentalist just like her father is. She goes to this really small town, and it definitely gives off like creepy town in the middle of nowhere with really like suspicious people vibes for about like half the book. And then you get into like this thriller aspect. One of the men dies in the town and it looks like it was a wolf attack, and she's already facing a lot of backlash. I said Canada, I meant Scotland. So they're in Scotland. I apologize. Anyways, so they're in Scotland and they're sheep farmers, and so she's already facing a lot of backlash by bringing wolves back to this area from these sheep farmers, and then one of them dies and it looks like a potential wolf attack, and it just like it goes from there basically. However, that is like the non-spoilery top of what happens. Like there's so much more going on here. You get it from like page 1 where there's something wrong with her sister and you don't know what it is, and you also know that like they have experienced a trauma but you don't know what it is. You know that there's something with the townspeople but you don't know what it is, like, and then at the very end it all kind of wraps up and gets revealed, and it just, like I said, emotionally eviscerated me 100%. I stayed up last night thinking about this book. It was amazing. Like I said, I don't want to go into spoilers. Maybe I will later if I talk about this book more, or if you guys are interested in that, I will. It was about 250 pages. It's a really short book. Definitely worth it. I am still thinking about this book. There's definitely a trigger warning for abuse and sexual assault. I stayed up thinking about this book. It ends up really beautifully. It wraps up very well. It's a page turner. Like, it is so amazing, and you like the atmosphere of this book is perfect for this time of year as well, by the way. Okay, I'll put that down. That was 5 stars. If you couldn't tell, that's 5 stars. I need to like make a whole video just dedicated to that. The next book I read the next 3 books I read were during my 24-hour readathon. It'd be the Wiki King. I talked about this in my other vlog. Didn't enjoy this one as much. I love Holly Black. I love her world, her universe. She paints beautiful universes. She paints beautiful like scenery, just a beautiful setting. but her characters, I have a very hard time understanding their motives and like buying into their motivations. I just can't. I just have a really hard time doing that, and I'm a very character person. Like, I love characters. I want to see like character development. I want to see like the depth of a character, and I just don't get that with Holly Black books. It's something that I guess I have come to expect. I'm gonna love her fairy. I'm gonna love her descriptions. Gonna love all of that. I'm not gonna like the characters, and I'm not gonna get their motives. This was a 2-star for me. I think mostly because Jude and Carden, I don't understand why this is all over Book Talk, that they're like a big thing. Enemies to lovers, no, they're just rude. They're just not enemies to lovers. There's nothing going on there besides them bullying each other. And it's like not even entertaining. It's not quirky, it's not quippy, it's like annoying. Okay. So yeah, definitely 2 stars. It was a quick read. Like I said, I love the worlds. I hate the characters, and I'm a character person. That's why it's two stars. It's, you know, other people's like 3 or 4 or 5 stars, whatever. We had The Flame. I'm gonna say this name wrong, and I wish I wouldn't, but right here, Hafsa Fazil? Should have looked that up, did not. But anyways, We Hunt the Flame is my next book. I like this book. It's definitely a good debut novel. Loved the atmosphere in this book. Loved the characters. This is like an enemies to lovers fantasy. This is a 3-star, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys why. That is because one of these characters dresses up like a man, and I absolutely love that trope of a female having to dress up as a man to like survive the world that she lives in. I absolutely love that trope, and it was gone within the first 3 chapters. The person who she didn't want to find out that knew that she was a man knew that she's a man. It was annoying. Like, you can't sell me on that and then not follow through. If you like the David Bond trilogy, you're gonna love this because it's the same sort of setting, atmosphere that this is giving off. Interesting, intriguing, lots of political intrigue. 3 stars. I will listen to it on audio. I don't know if I can give you much of a synopsis. I already did on my TBR for November, if you want to go check that out. Next one is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This is one of the first actual thrillers, horrors that I've read in a very long time. Honestly, the last one was The Maidens, but I didn't like that at all. I enjoyed this one a lot more. I suspected how it was going to end, but did not guess it exactly, and I appreciate that. This one also kept me reading for sure. It is a haunted house thriller. A woman is raised by her father, who writes a story about this house that they had lived in that was haunted. He writes this big story. It goes viral. It becomes a bestseller, and it's about her growing up with like this story, and everyone assuming things about her because of it. And eventually her father passes, and she goes back to this house to see if what he wrote was actually true. Very intriguing, very interesting. Like I said, I knew something suspicious was going on. I didn't expect it to end exactly like it did, and I appreciate that, because the reason I don't like thrillers is because I can always predict what the ending is, and I feel like that is like not what you want from a thriller. That's what you want from a romance. Like, I want to be able to predict what's going to happen in a romance. Like, I can't handle high stakes in romances, but you don't want to do that in thrillers. Like, I don't want to be able to predict what the ending is going to be, and I wasn't able to do with this. I don't know if that's because I'm inexperienced or because that's what this book is. Really liked it. If you guys have any recommendations for other Riley Sagers I should read, please put them in the comments below so I can read them. The next book I almost DNF'd too, and I'm glad I didn't. And that is Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore. This was my romance read for, well, one of my romance reads for this month. So I started reading it. I did not want another Hades Persephone retelling. I'm tired of them. I know that we love them. We love Hades and Persephone. It's an amazing myth. It's a fun myth. It's cool to retell. I'm tired of reading them. And when I first started this book, that's what I thought this was going to be. And while it does end up kind of going along those lines, there's a lot more depth than most retellings. I will give you that. Didn't care for the female main character. Her name, let me see, Hattie. It was Hattie Greenfield as the main female protagonist in this book. I didn't like Hattie. I didn't. She was, and like, it's weird because they mention it in the book. She was a spoiled brat. There's no depth to her. The only character trait she has is that she likes it rough, and she's afraid to say that she likes it rough. That's it. That's literally, sorry to say it that way, but that's literally what it is. However, her love interest in this one, which is Blackstone, has so much depth, so it kind of like balanced it out to where I was able to like finish this book and not DNF it. Loved Blackstone. He was amazing. Definitely a good like Hades portrayal of a character, better than A Touch of Darkness for sure. Loved this male protagonist, and that's normally how it goes with romance. I love one or the other. 3 stars for me. Yeah, the ending was good, very nice. The scenes were steamy. Like I said, Hattie likes it rough and she just doesn't want to admit it, and when they figure it out, they figure it out, and it's a fun ride. It's a fun ride. Okay, I'm gonna move on before I embarrass myself. Finally finished The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb this month. And the only thing, because you guys know this is gonna be 5 stars for me, I've already mentioned that I love the series. Already mentioned that Robin Hobb apparently is like the best author for writing characters. Love the nautical adventure. It's basically written into my DNA. I love this, 5 stars. And the only thing I have to say about these books is that, you know, like when you're reading something that's going to be epic, you just get that feeling that it's something that's epic. That's what I feel like when I read this book. It feels like Lord of the Rings. It feels like The Unmentionables, Harry Potter. It feels like a classic. Like it just feels like an epic, and I just fall in love with it, and I love it. That's all I have to say about this. I've already talked about it enough on all my videos. And the next one, I did a whole video dedicated to it. It is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. It is an amazing vampire story. I love this world. I would not be able to survive in it. It is definitely an R-rated vampire story. Gore, sex, drugs, all of it. But I loved it. Read 700 pages like it was nothing. Couldn't put it down. Yeah, so definitely recommend this. It's all blurbed by all the good authors. I'm not going to say much more about that because, like I said, I have a whole video. I can link it below. You can go watch it. I'm fangirl. The other book I read was The Romanov Oracle by Molly Tully. It is just, I just read it on my Kindle. I follow her on Instagram. I think it's like the Blonde Bibliophile, at the Blonde Bibliophile. She's hilarious. Love her coffee talks. And then I say that because I have to disclaim I didn't care for her book, which makes me sad. The sex scenes were obviously really good. This is her debut novel. I feel like I could tell that she spent more time on the smut than she did anything else. Her transitions weren't that very good from scene to scene. I kept thinking like, what happened? And like having to reread, which that normally signifies that I'm not having a good time. Lots of typos and stuff like that. But like I said, it's a debut author. She wrote this book in like a month. It's fun, quick read. It's like 250 pages. It is what it is. It's a retelling of Anastasia and Rasputin and the Russian Revolution. It's interesting. It's an interesting take. I will give it to her. Loved the inventiveness of it. Loved the creativity of it. However, I just feel like the transitions need to be a little bit better, a little bit smoother, and yeah, I think that's really that's it. Like I just felt lost half the time. Very quick paced to a point where I was like, how are you doing that? Like you can't explain a whole revolution in 250 pages. The characters were very one note. That was another thing. Anastasia in this book is abused in the way that like she is secluded from everybody. Her parents have abused her entire life. She's been abused by all of the like priests and stuff that, you know, the Romanov family was known for having around. And it was like she had like insta love with Rasputin, and then suddenly she grew a pair of balls. And I was like, that's not how that happens. Like I said, if it was longer, I think I would have enjoyed it more, because I'm like, that's not how that happens. You don't find someone and then suddenly find yourself. Like that's not the message that I feel like we need to be portraying. Yeah, and then there are just some inconsistencies as far as like they would literally threaten the Tsar and stay in the palace, and then threaten the Tsar again and stay in the palace. Like literally hold a knife to the Tsar's neck, but then spend the night in his palace. And I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. You can't justify that one to me. But anyways, still follow her on Instagram. I will probably still pick up another book if she writes it. Yeah, and that is what I read this month. Honestly, it was a really good reading month. I'm not gonna lie, I have, how many 5 stars? 1, 2, 3, 5 stars in November. I'm down for it. Yeah, that is what I read this month, so stay tuned. I'll have my TBR up at the end of this week, and I am planning on doing some readathon vlogs, so please subscribe so that you know when things come. Comment below on any of your thoughts on these books. I try not to give too much of a synopsis because I'm always afraid I'm going to spoil things, especially after I read the book. I have a bigger habit of doing that after I read the book. I have a feeling that my like wrap-ups are going to be more about like my feelings on the book than my ratings, and that's it. Yeah, give me some Riley Sager freaking recommendations. Read Once There Were Wolves, please. It's a Goodreads like top whatever rated book for, I think, thrillers. But anyways, hope you guys are having a wonderful November. Have some amazing Thanksgivings, Friendsgivings, whatever you want to do. Some harvesting celebrations, fun times, and I will see you guys later.